So many of us have been sold this idea of what good studying should look like. Sitting at your desk, reading your textbook, and repeating information until it finally sticks. But what if I told you that there are actually a bunch of different study methods that you didn't even know existed, but could actually level up your studying in the most unexpected ways, and they're actually fun? Today's video, I'll be ranking all the different study methods, not as a professional. For the record, I'm not a professional, just a student who has spent the last 4 years of my life learning and researching all about the science of learning and memory, stuff like that, from the best of the best. So if you are ready to discover the different ways that you can make your academic comeback in 2026, then watch till the end. Hi, I'm Shamey, your internet friend, and that's Leveling Up. You already saw the intro, you already saw the title, you already saw the thumbnail. I have no other intro for this. But before I start, I want you to understand one core concept that is actually going to play a very huge role in this ranking, and it's called active recall. In simple terms, it's just forcing yourself to remember information. That's just how I can explain it in the simplest way for you guys. So the criteria for this ranking is 1, active recall efficiency, time efficiency, because we don't have time. Thirdly, personal preference, because there are some study methods that is like, okay, I understand that it's good, but personally I just don't like it. This tier ranking is not just going to be like based on facts, it's also going to be based on personal bias. So let's get into the tier list. I've actually been wanting to make this video. Like, I just wanted to do a tier ranking video because I love watching all those YouTube videos where they're ranking something. It doesn't even matter what it is, but as far as they're ranking something, I just love it. So that's why I decided to do my own version of it. So we have the tiers. First of all, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Like, literally, why are you studying that way? It's so useless. Then we have the second tier, which is slightly better but still not all that different. Low-key a waste of time. Self-explanatory. Then the third tier is just mid. Like, the study method is just okay. It gets the job done, but it's not it's just mid. It's just mid. And then fourth tier, we have noteworthy. That means it's good, but still not top tier. And then the highest tier of them all is certified academic weapon. This is just kind of self-explanatory. It passes all the qualifications and it's just perfect. I think I already have an idea of what's going to go there. So now let's just get into the ranking. I have all the pictures here. Let me start with something I can quickly explain. So first of all, we have interleaving. So interleaving is basically when you mix different kinds of subjects and topics together. So maybe, for example, you are studying for 3 hours, and in that 3-hour study session, you decide that okay, the first 30 minutes is going to be for studying something in biology. Then the next 30 minutes is going to be used for studying something in chemistry, but also still related to that topic in biology. So you are basically just like, interleaving, like, oh, you're jumping from different topics. Now, interleaving, I don't know about the effectiveness of it actually. A lot of people say that interleaving is good for them because they have short attention spans, and as somebody who has somewhat of a short attention span too, I haven't really found interleaving all that effective for me, because I don't really do interleaving. I kind of do it, but not really. Nah, I don't really think I do interleaving. So I feel I'm not going to put it in mid because it's not noteworthy, but it's also not a waste of time. Obviously, it gets the job done. So I'm just going to put it in mid. That's just what it is. So next we have highlights. Let me just get this out of the way immediately. Wait, okay. Why are you doing this? Or low-key a waste of time? Okay. I also love highlighting. Like, I literally have my highlighter here, so I can't even put this in why are you doing this, because I also highlight. So the reason why highlighting is low-key a waste of time is because highlighting itself, how I see highlighting is just like, it's just an addition to studying. It should not be the studying itself. Whenever I see all those videos where they're like, oh, study with me, and then they are just grabbing highlighters, they're just highlighting, I'm like, where is this studying? In terms of like active recall, first of all, it's the most passive study method. You aren't testing yourself on the knowledge. You are just reading, highlighting, reading again, highlighting. Like, okay, highlighting helps you to get the key points. It helps you to, grab your attention and focus on the most important parts of the notes and whatever. But unless you are maybe highlighting questions that you can answer later, highlighting is pretty useless, if I'm going to be very honest. And then in terms of time, it doesn't take extra time or anything, but I just feel like it doesn't really do much. And then for the third criteria, which is, what's the third? personal preference. The reason why ordinarily I should have put it in why are you doing this, because it's really not effective, but because I like highlighters. Okay, they're aesthetic and fun, so that's why I put it in low-key, a waste of time. If you are relying so much on highlighters and you think highlighting is going to, improve your studying somehow, please drop the highlighters and start actively recalling instead. Thank you. Next, we have spaced repetition. Okay, certified academic weapon. Yeah, the video I made in December about consistency, the cheat codes to habits, the science of habit formation, I explained spaced repetition. So go check out that video. But in simple terms, spaced repetition is when you just space out your study sessions in order to avoid forgetting information. So basically, there's this thing called the forgetting curve, right? And when you first learn information, your memory is at 100%, but as time passes, your memory further deteriorates, and then that's how you just forget stuff. And the way that you avoid forgetting that information is through something called spaced repetition. So after you learn the information the first day, the next day you review it again, then the next 2 or 3 days you review it again, next 5 days you review it again, next week you review it again. So that's how you make sure that the information sticks in your memory. So that's the whole thing of spaced repetition. I'm going to bring it down a level because spaced repetition itself is just a study tip. So if you are passively rereading the information, but you are spacing out the reading, spaced repetition is kind of useless. But if you are combining it with active recall, then spaced repetition is. So I'm just going to put it in noteworthy because I know some people, they use spaced repetition, but they are only rereading the information, not actually actively recalling it. So, and also in terms of time, sometimes spaced repetition can also be a bit annoying because you don't want to have to go back to topics over and over again and then still trying to learn new topics. So yeah, but personal preference, I love spaced repetition. Next, flashcards. Oh, I'm going to be so biased with this one because flashcards is such a controversial thing. A lot of people don't like flashcards, but I live for flashcards. Okay, like I'll show a clip of all my flashcards from secondary school. I want to put it in certified academic weapon, but I can't because it's time. Okay, I'm going to put it in noteworthy. I don't think anything is going to enter certified academic weapon. Oh, okay, I've seen the thing that will enter. So flashcards. I think most of us know what flashcards are, right? Flashcards are those cards, like for example, let's say this is a book. This is a flashcard. You have the question here and then the answer at the back. So you just have like a deck of flashcards, and instead of going through your notes, you just review it like, what is mitosis? You see the back. Mitosis is whatever. And the reason why I love flashcards is because I do not like looking at notes. I do not like reading textbooks. I do not like all those things. Another thing is that when you have only your notes to study, it means that every time that you are going to study, you're going to have to be like, okay, how can I actively recall this? But with flashcards, it's already there. Like, I don't know. I don't understand how people don't love flashcards. I personally do more online flashcards than physical flashcards, but I have a lot of physical flashcards and I also have a lot of online flashcards. I use the app Quizlet. Quizlet is just... I want to collab with Quizlet so much. I love Quizlet so much. But basically, you can just do flashcards on Quizlet. Also, they have test options and a lot of things there. Another thing about flashcards is that it's literally based on the principle of active recall, like asking yourself questions and then recalling the information. And you can even combine it with spaced repetition. Let me move it. I can't move it because of time. But the problem with flashcards is that it can be kind of time consuming, especially if you're doing physical ones. It can be kind of time consuming, but personally I don't see it as time consuming because what I do is that I don't know why people don't do this. When I'm first studying something, I literally create the flashcards then and there. Like, I don't wait to my next study sessions to start creating flashcards. No, like as I'm learning this topic, I'm creating flashcards for it. So that way the next time I want to review it, I don't need to go to my notes again. I already have flashcards for it. Big brain things. You know what? I'm going to be biased. I'm going to allow my personal preference come either way. Certified academic weapon. Another problem that can occur with flashcards is having too much information on the card. When you have too much information on the card, that literally destroys the purpose of it. And sometimes flashcards may not be effective for some certain subjects, especially for subjects where maybe the teacher is always asking very specific questions that you have to read your entire notes to actually get the answers. But overall, I love flashcards. I'm going to put it at the top. Next, I don't know what this is. Okay, studying with music. Yeah, studying with music. Myth is definitely not noteworthy. Low-key waste of time. I feel like it's just mid, honestly. Studying with music. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know. I'm kind of just, and I'm kind of on the fence. It depends. Okay, so in my last video, I mentioned that I love listening to the Hamilton soundtrack while I'm solving mathematics because it's just hypes me up. So that's one aspect of it. That okay, I love studying with music for like mathematics and basically anything that has to do with calculation. I always play music. But when it comes to something like essay-based subjects like government, literature, things where I have to read extensively, music is out of the way. Music, I will not be listening to music. It just doesn't make sense for you to listen to music with lyrics while studying. Unless you are listening to like lo-fi beats. But personally, I don't listen to lo-fi either. Like, I don't think I've ever, okay, I definitely have, but I don't search on YouTube when I'm going to study lo-fi, study girl music, whatever. Nah, I don't do that because I like to study in silence, but I also hate studying in silence at the same time. It's so confusing, honestly. I'm so confused. So that's why I put music as mid, because I feel like studying with music doesn't really have much of an effect. It's kind of just one of those things that is nice to do, but if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. So studying with music, there's no science that is backing it up that music helps you concentrate better. Does it? I don't even know. Maybe I'll do research on that. This is pre-testing certified academic weapon. I'm just going to put it there. I don't think a lot of people do this, but it's something that I personally love to do, and it's called pre-testing. Basically, before you learn about a topic, before you even start reading about it, you are going to take a test on that topic. Yes, you are going to take a test on that topic. So the reason why pre-testing works so much is because it's based on something called the hypercorrection effect. So basically, when you do a test, or you do some kind of exam and you feel like, oh, I know this thing, I should be correct, and then you end up failing it, you are more likely to remember it. So I do this a lot for major exams. For example, my last video where I was studying, that I said that was my first time studying since WAEC. The reason why I took that mock test was so that I could know my existing knowledge of economics. And mind you, I've never done any UTME economics exam before, so this was like my first time ever doing it. And the reason why I did this is so that I could play into the hypercorrection effect. So all those topics that I didn't know, questions that I failed, I'm more likely to remember the answers because I answered them when I felt like, oh, I would probably know the answer, but I didn't end up knowing it. Pre-testing is such an underrated but also very superior study technique, certified academic weapon, and it doesn't even take much time. It's just like, instead of you going into studying immediately, you just decide, okay, one of the study sessions I'm going to use it to pre-test myself on this knowledge. So it doesn't take much time. Personal bias is there. I love pre-testing, and it is very much active recall certified. So certified academic weapon. Based on the same idea, we have practicing past questions. I don't know how I feel about this. So the thing about past questions is that a lot of us have not been told how to actually use past questions to our advantage. We're just told, solve past questions. But you're not told that if you solve a bunch of past questions, but you're not doing anything with the information, you are not really solidifying the information into your memory, solving past questions is kind of useless. So the way that I study past questions is that, okay, I take the practice test, right? I do the past questions. And I'm not just looking at the numbers. It's about the questions that I got wrong. So you go through all the questions, you look at them individually and say, oh, why did I miss this? How can I improve? What topic is this under? How do I revise this topic? And then what I do is I turn them into flashcards. Like, for example, government. I have a flashcard set that is just UTME government questions that I failed. In my opinion, mid. I'm going to put it under mid because I mean it gets the job done. I just feel like it's not that effective if you're not doing it right. But it's good for active recall. It can really help you to test your knowledge on topics. And what's the other one? Personal bias. Yeah, I'm not a fan of past questions like that. Pomodoro technique. Noteworthy or mid. Okay, so the Pomodoro technique is a time management technique where you work or you study for 25 minutes and then 5 minutes you rest, you go on a break, whatever, 25 minutes again, and then you just keep on repeating it. So this is really good for people who struggle to sit for a very long time. But personally, how I do the Pomodoro technique, I don't do 25 minutes because I would get frustrated having to end my study every 25 minutes. Do you know how frustrating that is? What I do is I do like 45 minutes of work, with 10 minutes of break, or maybe 1 hour 20 minutes of break, that kind of thing. You can create your own time frame. You don't have to exactly follow that method, but just the whole idea is work break, work break, work break, work break, work break, work break, work break. The thing about the Pomodoro technique is that those 25 minutes of work, you need to be fully dedicated. Like, you need to be in deep work, like flow state kind of work. You cannot be scrolling or like getting distracted. You need to be fully into it in order for it to actually be effective. And during your break, you must not scroll or maybe play games or do something that you know would make you end up procrastinating, because that just defeats the entire purpose if you end up procrastinating. um Mid or noteworthy? Mid or noteworthy? I ended up putting it in mid because you can do without it. You know what? No, I'm going to put in noteworthy. No, I'm going to. Why is it going to academic weapon? Noteworthy. I'm just going to put in noteworthy because it has just personal bias. Personal bias. Because I do it and I feel like it has helped me a lot, because I can't study for 2 hours at a go, and just having a break in between, it helps to prevent burnout. So yeah, rereading your notes. Rereading. I'm just going to get that out of the way. Rereading your notes is absolutely useless. It's the most useless thing you can ever do. It is the exact opposite of active recall. All you are doing is just reading. You're just reading it. Then you come another day, you read again. Reading doesn't make you remember. What actually makes you to remember what you study is active recall. Stop rereading your notes. Mind maps. I'm going to put in certified academic weapon. I love mind mapping so much, especially when you have highlighters and then you get to like use colored lines, and oh my god, mind mapping is so fun. Okay, so mind mapping, in case you don't know what mind mapping is, you basically start with a concept or a topic at the center of the page, and then you just like draw lines to connect different concepts together. Personally, I love mind mapping for subjects like biology and literature, especially biology. And the thing about mind mapping is that it's just such a good way for you to see how different concept connects to a central idea. I feel like when you're studying a textbook, it's so easy to forget the central idea because you are moving from different subtopics. You're like, okay, this is the topic, and then subtopic, then another subtopic under the subtopic, and then you're just like, wait, how does this all even connect together? And mind mapping is just such a good way for you to see the bigger picture. In terms of active recall, I feel mind mapping is very effective when you are doing it from memory instead of reading the notes and mind mapping. I would have usually already done the flashcards, done the notes, and then maybe the night before exam, I'm just like, okay, let me quickly do a mind map of everything I know about this topic. Then I just quickly do it, and that's like just a way for me to see the general idea. And in terms of time, it just takes the same amount of time as a normal studying or flashcard reviewing session would take. So next, we have the Cornell note-taking method. I feel low-key a waste of time. In fact, let me put in, why are you doing this? No, that's a little bit too harsh. So Cornell note-taking method is this really popular note-taking method that a lot of people talk about, and I've tried it. I've tried the Cornell note-taking method. I feel it's kind of useless because what is the point? In my own opinion, I feel there's no point in it. That's all I can say. There's no point in it. It doesn't. Okay, it can infuse active recall actually. A lot of people say that, okay, you know how this side is for the concept, this side is for the explanation, this side is for the summary, this side is for the topic. I'll have the picture on the screen of what it looks like. What you can do to actually make the Cornell note-taking method effective is, instead of writing the concepts, you can write questions and then have the answers on the other side. So it's really not all that different from like setting questions for yourself or like flashcards. Then when you are studying, you can get like a book, place it on top of the paper, and then be asking yourself the questions, and every time you get it right, you like, I don't know, you move to the next question or something like that. Don't focus too much on the note-taking method, just focus on the active recall aspect of it. I've been talking for like an hour. I'm tired. We have mnemonics. I put it under mid because I feel there's really nothing much to say about it, honestly. It's just one of those things that you do. So mnemonic is a study method where you basically create things, you create like words or sentences associated with a particular concept in order to remember, like BODMAS, PEMDAS. That's used to remember the order of operations. The ABCs is a song, but it's also a form of a mnemonic. Mnemonics haven't really played that big of a role when it comes to my studying, honestly. I feel like most times, even when I create mnemonics, I end up forgetting them like after the exam or after 2 days. So that's why I'm just going to put on that meat, because there's still an active recall aspect to it, because you are still kind of forcing your brain to think about the information, and it relates to the Bloom's taxonomy of learning, like orders of learning, whatever, that I said I want to make a video on. Blurting. So this study method is a study method by one of my favorite YouTubers of all time, Unjaded Jade, and it's a certified noteworthy. Or certified academic. I don't know. I'm going to put another noteworthy. It should be certified academic weapon, but I have to take into consideration the time. Blotting is basically when you write out everything that you know about a particular topic. So you read it and then you take a plain sheet of paper and then you write out everything that you know. Blotting has helped me so much in situations where I want to revise what I've learned, but I don't have my textbook with me, or I don't have any study material with me. Like sometimes I will just get out a sheet of paper and be like, okay, let me write out everything that I remember about this topic, and then the parts I don't remember, I just like note it down and then I come back and I read on it. It's a very good way to implement active recall, because you are forcing your brain to remember the information. Blotting is a top tier study method, but the thing about blotting is that it can be quite time consuming, and that's why it's under noteworthy and not certified academic weapon. And I also don't love blotting enough. I don't love it to the same level that I love mind maps and pre-testing and flashcards. So that's why it is under noteworthy and not certified academic weapon. Listening to your lectures, listening to your classes, basically just listening to your notes. Now, this study method is kind of unique solely to auditory learners. We have different kinds of learners. We have visual, auditory, read and write, and then kinesthetic/tactile learners. Auditory learners, they are more likely to remember information that is spoken to them rather than reading or like writing or seeing. This kind of study method it works mainly for them because obviously they remember things when they are listening to it. But personally, I don't think I've ever done that. Like I don't think I've ever said, okay, let me record a voice note of me reading out my notes and then going back to it. Personally, I've never really done that. And also, it's not active recall certified. I mean, it's just a form of passive learning. So that's why I feel it's a waste of time. So the next one is watching videos. I love watching videos on topics, but I have to be honest. Okay, I'm going to put on that noteworthy because I'm a very visual person. So with watching videos, I feel it's just a really nice way for you to see your information, the things that you learn in a different way, because with textbooks are boring. It can play a very big role in helping you understand it. But the thing about watching videos is that we can deceive ourselves, okay? We can deceive ourselves into believing that simply by watching the videos, we are doing something productive. But in reality, you're just watching videos. If you're not taking notes, you're not creating flashcards, you're not doing anything to actively record the information from that video, then watching videos can be kind of useless. But overall, I love watching videos, okay? What's the other thing? Time. I don't think it's not time consuming at all. Data consuming, maybe, but time consuming, nope. Next, we have the Feynman technique, which for some reason I added the pictures. The Feynman technique is where you break down a concept like you are teaching it to a child or somebody who has like zero knowledge of that field. And honestly, Feynman technique is one of the best techniques in my opinion. The reason why the Feynman technique works so much is because it leans into the idea that if you can't explain it, if you can't teach someone, then you don't really understand it fully. And when you are teaching somebody, you can't be using very scientific terms, you can't be using complicated words to teach it to them. So if you are able to explain it to the core, like you are able to truly break it down, it shows that you have such a good understanding of the topic. It kind of puts you in the place of a teacher. And how I personally like to do the Feynman technique is sometimes I would actually be teaching it to people. Like I would be teaching my friends. I remember I used to teach my classmates some certain topics, like just to review it with them in case they didn't understand. Or literally just be writing on the board, like government. I miss those times. Or sometimes I would just be in my room pretending as if I'm teaching a topic like biology, and it just helps you to test your knowledge on that thing. And the parts where you are not able to explain properly, that's where you know that, okay, I need to focus on so area. And if you have a whiteboard, if you have some kind of board at home, that just adds to the whole vibe. So Feynman technique, certified academic weapon. The effectiveness of the method, it just makes up for the extra time, even though I don't feel it's extra time. Next, we have the SQ3R method. If I'm going to be very honest with you, this SQ3R method, I heard about it like, when did I hear about it? Like 3 years ago. I first heard about it like 3 years ago, and I have never used it. Never. So this SQ3R method, it has to do with English summary. I don't even know how to explain it honestly. So it has to do with, like, you know how they say when you are reading a comprehension passage, you should read it once, then the second time you read it, you read the question, then the third time you look for the answers. I was one of those children that were just stubborn. I never did that. I would just go straight into it. Question, answer. I always used to get good scores anyways. So I never really bothered myself with that, if I'm going to be honest. Even with summary, I would just look at the questions. I'll be like, okay, let me get the general idea of what this passage is about and get it over with. And I've never had issues with it. Even though I'm pretty sure that's a bad thing to do. So this SQ3R method. Okay, so this SQ3R method, according to this ChatGPT, not ChatGPT, Google Gemini AI summary overview, whatever. So the SQ3R method is a 5-step reading and study system: survey, question, read, recite, and review. In short, you look at the material, get a general picture of the idea of the material, what I like to do. Then you formulate questions based off it. You formulate questions? Do you formulate questions? Yeah, you formulate questions based off what you've seen. Then ask yourself what you already know and what you want to. This is so boring. I'm sorry. Then you read the text. After reading the text, you recite the information in your own words. Basically, just repeat it in a way that you understand, and then you review your notes. So you know what, it's actually quite effective now that I'm thinking about it, but I just can't be bothered to go through that long process, if I'm being honest. I guess it's noteworthy. I mean, it's science backed, but personally I don't really care for it. It's way too long for me, and I'm all about, you know what, I can't even put it on that mid. I feel like putting it in mid would just be like an insult to the people who obviously created this method. So I'm just going to put it on that noteworthy, because I'm just going to put it there. Now the last two, there's a reason why I left them for the last. So now we have sleeping in and pulling an all-nighter. Let me just get this over with. All-nighter, why are you doing this? And then sleeping in, not sleeping in, just like getting a good night's rest, honestly. So now this is in the context of the night before an exam. Should you sleep or should you pull an all-nighter? I will always advise sleeping. I want to make a full video on why you should stop pulling all-nighters, because I wrote some articles about it like 2 years ago, and I'll just do some research about sleep and everything related to like sleep hormones, why sleep is important, the role that sleep has to do with memory, stuff like that. I don't even mean studying till like 1 a.m. I mean, you don't even sleep at all the night before an exam. Are you okay? Like, are you trying to fail? I'm not even prepared to talk about this topic of sleeping. I'll talk about it another time, maybe next week or February. But that's all I can say. Because you're resting, your brain is able to process all the information during the day and also prepare you for the next morning. So when you pull an all-nighter, you're kind of affecting the process of your brain, moving the information from the short-term memory to long-term memory, and that kind of defeats the whole purpose of studying, in my opinion. So that's the whole thing of sleeping and pulling an all-nighter. So this is my ranking. Oh, this is like it's giving staircase. Oh, should I just even it out? Actually, let me just even it out. And just let me know in the comment section if maybe you did not understand some of the things I mentioned, because I know that I was kind of just breezing through these study techniques, but I hope I've been able to explain it to the best of my capabilities. Comment down below which of the study methods you are going to be implementing as soon as possible into your study sessions, and which one did you not know existed until today. And any question that you have just regarding this whole study stuff, and maybe anything that you want me to address, just comment and I'll respond, and I'll probably make a video about it. I'm running out. My voice is going. My voice is practically gone at this point because I've been talking for like what? Oh, it's only showing 30 minutes on my screen for like 1 hour at a go without any script. So yeah. Okay, so this is Shemi from the future. I could not film an outro for this video because I literally ran out of storage while filming this, and I don't know, I just never got around to filming the outro. So thank you so much for watching. I know this is a bit of a long video. It took forever to edit. You don't even understand. It took me around like 2 weeks to edit because of I was just having a lot of issues with transferring the files and everything. But I really hope that you were able to pick something up from this video. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below which of these study techniques you'll be interested in starting from today or next week or whenever you want to start it. Just let me know in the comment section, and I'll see you, I want to say next week, but I may have to go on a break because editing for YouTube is just taking so much of my time. And yeah, but I'll see you when I see you. Bye bye. Probably next week or next 2 weeks. So yeah, bye. So many of us have been sold this idea of what studying should look like. Sitting at your desk all day, crying. No, that was not part of the script. Not as a professional, okay, not as a professional. I'm just 15 years old. I don't have a degree, except for a secondary school degree. But just as a student who has spent the last 4 years of our life learning about the science of learning here and there, memory and all of that, because I'm a nerd. Why? I have explained it before. I explained it in my video about creating consistency with oh my god, you can't calculate in my video. But you are spacing the reading out. But you are spacing out the reading. I'm just going to get that out of the way.